So I have got 2 salmon fillets here. This recipe makes enough for 4. So the first thing I want to do is give those a little bit of season with some salt and a little bit of pepper. So we're keeping things pretty kind of basic here on the actual salmon, but then we're gonna start amping this up. So I've got about 2-ish, 3-ish tablespoons of maple syrup here. So what I wanna do is grab a pastry brush. Maple and salmon, honestly, match made in heaven. Super, super tasty. It brings a little bit of sweetness, but maple syrup has this like, kind of like dark sweetness to it, you know? It's a little bit molassesy. It's got more flavor, obviously, than just like sugar or brown sugar. If you wanted to as well, you could mix a little bit of Dijon mustard into here. That would be nice. But we're gonna keep it just with the maple today. So I've got that nice and brushed. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wrap this salmon up. Now, I like doing like a protein wrapped in another protein. It feels like a present. It's always a good thing. So I have got some prosciutto here. Now, if you wanted, you could also do this with thin sliced pancetta for a bit more crisp. This gives a really, really nice coating to the outside. So just grab 2 slices per piece of that salmon, and you just wanna layer those up. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of wrap that around, trying not to get my hands dirty. Let's see if we can do it. Oh my gosh, Mary Berg. I am impressed right now. Every once in a while I impress myself and I'm like, oh my gosh, pat myself on the back. All right, now I've got the other 2 slices here. I'll wrap that other piece up. If you wanted to, you could also like lay these all out and do like a whole side of salmon. That would be absolutely beautiful. And just lay that prosciutto on top. Now I've got salmon without the skin on. That's one thing you wanna make sure. Because if you had the skin on, that skin's not gonna get crispy. It's not gonna be delicious. But this prosciutto's gonna give you a little bit of that kind of skin situation on the outside, that crispiness. Oh my gosh, I'm flying too close to the sun. Clearly I was like, I'm gonna be able to do that again. Anyway, so we've got that salmon all coated, looking beautiful. This is gonna hold in some of that moisture. And I've got a pan here over about medium-high heat. So I'm gonna add in just a little bit of oil just to get things going. And I wanna add in that salmon seam side down. That's gonna crisp that up and allow it to start getting absolutely beautiful. Now, by adding it seam side down, that's gonna make it so that seam actually stays in place. It almost knits it together, which is beautiful. Now, while that sears for about a minute or 2 on each side, what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab the rest of that beautiful maple syrup that we didn't use to brush. But since I dipped this brush back in, obviously you don't wanna eat this, you need to cook it down. So once I've seared that on both sides and flipped it over, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna pour that beautiful maple right over top. That's gonna caramelize and cook down. You can already see it starting. It's gonna be absolutely beautiful. Now, what you wanna do is finish this up. So it takes about 2 minutes per side on the stove, and then you wanna finish that in an oven, 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and you wanna pop that in for just about, I'd say 5 to 7 minutes, just until that salmon is cooked through and looking absolutely beautiful. So while that salmon does its thing, I'm gonna get to work on some of the garnishes for my salad. So I've got a pan here over medium heat. Now into there, we're live. I wanna make sure that I am using a non-stick skillet, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna candy some pecans. So I'm grabbing my good friend maple syrup. We're bringing these 2 together and I'm feeling good about it. So I'm gonna add in about 3 tablespoons of that maple syrup. And immediately it starts to simmer up and start to cook down. Pop in about a cup of pecans. And then what you wanna do is you wanna give this a stir, and you wanna keep stirring it for about, I'd say 4 to 5 minutes. That's gonna toast those nuts, and as that syrup cooks down, it's gonna start to crystallize, which is gonna give you a nice candied, beautiful pecan. Absolutely delicious. My mom used to do this with just plain white sugar. She'd put sugar in a pan, cook it down until it got caramelized, then add those nuts in, and it gave you like a brittle that for some reason she would put brittle on a salad. It was delicious. I'm not questioning it. That's kind of what we're doing here. All right, so once that cooks down and it's nice and kind of crystallized, transfer them onto a parchment-lined pan, and then give them a scatter with a little bit of flaky sea salt. That, to me, is an absolute dream. All right, those are looking beautiful. Feeling good about that. So now we're gonna get to work while that salmon continues roasting on that beautiful salad. Super simple, really, really tasty. So into there, we need our good friend, maple syrup. She's making an appearance in everything today, and I'm not mad about it. So about a tablespoon of that's gonna go in just to sweeten things up and bring all the flavors together. Then into there, I'm going in with a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Now the Dijon mustard here is gonna do a couple things. It's obviously gonna bring a little bit of flavor, a little bit of punchiness, but it's also gonna help emulsify this dressing together. I've always really liked a super mustardy dressing, so this tablespoon is a heavy tablespoon, but do whatever you want. If you like it a little bit less mustardy, obviously feel free to pull back. Now into there, I'm going in with about 2 tablespoons of vinegar. I'm using apple cider vinegar, but sherry vinegar, white wine vinegar, even white vinegar would be good here. Feel free to use whatever you got hanging around. So about 2 tablespoons of that. Then I'm gonna go into there with some garlic. I've got a clove of garlic that I've minced up. And I always like to put my garlic kind of into the vinegary area. That's gonna help it kind of almost pickle and pull back on that spicy, punchy garlic flavor. So give it a little bit of a whisk just to kind of come together. Pickle that garlic just a bit, and then just whisk everything together. Now this is where that beautiful mustard is gonna come in handy. Because right now, there's a lot of liquid in here. And if you know one thing, oil, liquid, not friends. They don't like each other. They don't wanna be friends. They're like, remember like old high school dances and like some people will be over here, some people over here? And then there's that one person in the middle who's like, let's bring it together. That's what the mustard's doing. It's the glue trying to bring everyone together. So I'm gonna just whisk in maybe about 4 tablespoons of that beautiful oil, and it starts to emulsify it, starts to bring everything together and make it so it doesn't split. So I like a punchy one, so I'm gonna stick with probably about 3 tablespoons of that beautiful oil just to keep my dressing nice and punchy. Season that up with some salt, a little bit of pepper as well, or a lot of pepper, not gonna lie. This is where, if I was at home, I'd be doing this for about a minute. I'll stop now though. I like a good peppery dressing. All right, give that a good whisk together. And then this is the point where you can use whatever lettuce you've got hanging around. My lettuce right now has gone bananas in my garden. So I'm trying to eat that up. But if you want, arugula would be beautiful. Spring greens would be lovely. I'm gonna pop those on in. I'm just gonna go grab a pair of tongs to get that nice and together. Now, I hear some of you saying, Mary, we've got the pecans, we got the maple, where them peaches? Where are those peaches? So I'm gonna give that a little bit of a toss, and now we're gonna chat peaches real quick. So I have got some peaches right here looking absolutely beautiful. We are almost into perfect peach season here in Ontario. I'm very, very excited about it. But what you wanna do is you wanna make sure your peach, what type of peach your peach is. So there's 2 types. There's clingstone and there's freestone. So the way you check is follow this little line down that peach just with a paring knife. So grab that, kind of run your knife around, almost like you would an avocado. And if it is a freestone, fingers crossed, it will come off of that pit. If it is not, you're never getting it off that pit. It's almost like a mango. So let's see, give it a bit of a twist. Oh, nice. Nice. So that is a freestone peach. If you can only find a clingstone, which are just as delicious, basically what you would do is actually kind of cut the cheek of the peach off, almost like this. Then you get to snack on this lovely little bit, but that pit is really never coming out of there. So I'm just gonna give this a nice little thin slice, add it on into that salad. You could dice it up too if you're feeling it. That's gonna go right on in with that beautiful dressing. Super tasty, super fresh. Oh, I'm putting a lot of peach in here. I'm feeling thrilled about this. I'm having a great old time today. This is gonna be a delicious breakfast, I'm not gonna lie. All right, add those peaches in. I personally love peaches and blue cheese together, so we're gonna scatter that beautiful blue cheese in. Give that a nice mix. And then obviously, we cannot forget about these amazing maple candied pecans. Right on top, looking beautiful. To me, this is looking stunning. I'm gonna pop some onto a plate just to get it going. And then we cannot forget about that lovely salmon we've got going in the fridge. Let's go, or not the fridge, the oven, the opposite fridge. Okay. All right. This has been cooking up. That beautiful prosciutto is crispy and golden. Looking absolutely amazing. Serve that up on the side. That little bit of caramelized maple syrup is sticky and ooey. Come on, get out of town. That summer meal, absolute winner. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.